We're reading from Kabbalah for the student, the teaching of Kabbalah in its essence, page 42, order of passing the wisdom. You can get into our site, Kabbalah TV, send us your questions. Selected questions will be heard in the course of the lesson. Kabbalah for the student, page 42, the teaching of Kabbalah in its essence, order of passing the wisdom. Thus, how can one who attains convey one's attainment to the generation and to students? Know that there is only one way for this, the way of root and branch. All the worlds and everything that fills them in their every detail emerge from the Creator in one, unique and unified thought. And the thought alone cascaded and created all the many worlds and creations and their conducts, as explained in the Tree of Life and in the Tikkunei Zohar. Hence, they are all equal to one another, like seal and imprint, where the first seal is imprinted in all. As a result, we call the closer worlds to the thought about the purpose roots, and the further worlds from the purpose we call branches. This is so because the end of the act is in the preliminary thought. Now we can understand the common idiom in the legends of our sages and watches it from the end of the world to its end. Should they not have said from the beginning of the world to its end? But there are two ends. An end according to the distance from the purpose, meaning the last branches in this world, and two, an end called the final purpose, since the purpose is revealed at the end of the matter. But, as we have explained, the end of the act is in the preliminary thought, hence we find the purpose at the beginning of the worlds. This is what we refer to as the first world, or the first seal. All other worlds stem from it, and this is why all creations, still, vegetative, animate, and speaking, in all their incidents, exist in their fullest form right at the first world, and what does not exist there cannot appear in the world, since one does not give what one does not have.
Yes, Zvika. Only we need to not forget our friends that are working in the new building, and also all our groups. Yes.
He says here, the thought itself, of course, cascaded and done. What does it mean that the thought cascaded and done by itself?
Force. That's it. Thought is a force. This force cascades, operates as a force which operates in the operated. How is it cascading? So there's a force which is called a thought, which this thought constructs the matter, the desire, and later within this desire operates, meaning imprints itself in all sorts of manners, and the desire begins to receive the matter, which is called desire, begins to receive what the thought imprints in it, and then accordingly it changes. And these changes that the matter receives in a necessary manner from the thought the desire which begins to change. It goes through all kinds of changes, and these changes that it goes through, in these changes, it is sensed that the changes come from the thought. Why? Because within the desire, the thought enters. Within the heart, the mind enters. You understand? And then it also starts to think, what do I want? Why do I want? Where does it come to me? Why am I thinking this way? Maybe another way, maybe the opposite way, and so on. A thought that enters into the desire, it's like it's trying to corrupt it, to change it, until the desire changes to the point that it starts to say, what am I? I'm a desire to enjoy. And the thought is preliminary. It built me, it is changing me. So it's better that I should be adhered to the thought. Maybe I should have a thought of my own. Maybe in my thought I will control the desire and manage it, and not that the desire will manage my thought. If the desire is managing my thought, meaning that my body, like this, is kind of managing my whole life. No, maybe my head should manage my whole life. And already here, changes start to happen within the desire. Well, and we see what happens as a result of this. Today we are starting all over humanity. Kabbalists discovered this almost 6,000 years ago, but today all of humanity is starting to discover as a result of the 2000, yes, the 2000 years that the lights entered the kilim, the thought into the desire, and now the desire is starting to digest. Oh my God, what's happening to me? We are in not such a good state. We're suffering. The world of falsehood, nothing is understood or known. Why? The thought is criticizing the desire and saying the desire is to blame, the desire is to blame. Maybe I should manage it in a different way. This is how we're coming closer to the point of decision. So we will manage the desire with the thought or the thought by the desire. This is the choice. Yes?
Yeah, but the feeling is, the impression is that that thought, you were inserted with such a thought and desire. It was created in you.
Right.
And it seems that they imprinted in you an opposite thought from the creation, meaning he didn't instill such a thought of creation in you as should be, rather he gave you the opposite feeling, the opposite thought.
Because otherwise you won't know him. You need to get to know the truth, and you can't know the truth otherwise than through the false. Because you can't know a thing other than by its opposite. From its opposite, otherwise you cannot get to know it. You need light against darkness, or darkness against light. You need sweet towards bitter. Otherwise, you won't be able to measure anything. You need a measuring point, which is not what you need to measure, and towards it you measure. We are vessels, and therefore only this way we can come to the measurement and to the feeling and understanding, because everything is about measuring between two opposites. One, the Creator feels himself as one. We cannot feel ourselves as one, only towards something. If you're thrown right now into some space, you don't feel anything. Where's right? Where's left? There's nothing. They can throw you into such a space that you don't feel directions, but rather you won't even feel yourself. Let's say now we can put you into some fluid, which is in the same relative weight like your body and a certain temperature and pressure, that you will stop feeling your body. right, biologist? Yes? The same thing can be done to your mind, in your brain, meaning we're not doing anything to you, only what we are clearing from you, taking or releasing you from feeling anything against, as anything opposite, and you lose your self-feeling that you exist, that you're there at all. I need to explain such things to you? I don't know. You, what, did you come out of the caves now? No, seriously. We, because we are the created beings, we can measure ourselves only this against that. It's the benefit of light towards darkness. That's how it's called in Kabbalah in general.
So what is our work? To be eventually like the Creator Himself?
Therefore, if you won't go through all the problems in the world, all the trouble, all the hell, you won't come to the sensation of heaven. Yes, but, like this, like you look at me. But, I'll tell you, you can know this hell as a wise one who sees the born thing that's coming. Meaning, if I see something from afar, meaning don't feel it in all my vessels, then how will I feel also hell from afar? No, I agree. I want to enter inwards. Yes? How does that happen? Therefore, here is the matter of the shattering and the correction of the shattering. That it's enough for us to feel the gap between us somewhat, and all the rest we receive ready from the group. We will talk about this. This is a very delicate question. Yes, friend. Give him the microphone.
Good morning, Rav.
Good morning.
We see that the wisdom of Kabbalah spreads all over the world now.
Not yet, but let's hope.
2 weeks ago, we felt that we are missing that methodology in Africa, and we have many people around the world, friends who come from Africa, and 2 or 3 weeks ago, we're thinking, how can we connect through Skypes on the internet and have a group, have workshops, and
Excellent.
how can we disseminate?
Did you talk there in French or what language?
No, we have many languages. I'm talking about Africa, not just Ghana. And now we have few friends who connect, and we have to decide, hopefully next week on Sunday, every Sunday, we will have a talk and a workshop. How can we disseminate to
wonderful.
all of Africa?
To those that are in Africa or those that are in Europe from Africa?
The ones in Europe, they connect together, and we think how we can take care of Africa.
To care for Africa. Wonderful.
But the question is, not all the friends are responding, and we know why. So can you please explain how important it is for us to unite? Because we know that no one can help them except for us.
I will tell you, and I talked about this not once, many times, that we in our integral education do not need to be turning to the elites, but rather to those who are suffering. Because whoever's suffering has a deficiency, has a pain, he can understand, he's capable of feeling. Because the suffering, the will to receive is suffering, and it obligates a person to hear. And we learn this also from the wisdom of Kabbalah. So therefore, we need to address whoever's suffering. And therefore, in Africa, we truly have a certain, surely more attentive audience in Africa. Only we don't know who to turn to. We don't know how to come to. We don't have the people that are in some contact with us that hear us and are responding to us, that are writing to us. We don't have such a thing. Therefore, this is a problem. But actually, to talk to Africans, of course, it's much better than to talk to Afro-Americans or to Obama or someone like that. Because they truly have a deficiency in sorrow and so on. And also more than Europeans and to other nations. Because truly this whole continent is really suffering. I would be happy to do some kind of broadcast to there. I just don't know how to contact them.
Yeah, that's true. We now see all the groups in the world now. There, how much friends are disseminating so many congresses. But in our case, I never heard that there's any congress anywhere.
Wait, I don't care. I'm willing to travel there, but the question is to who to go to.
Yeah, I understand you. That is what we're talking about.
Because if you organize, let's say 100 or 200 people, and we'll go and we'll do it, please.
This is why we're trying to connect and thinking how we can disseminate to have groups in all the countries and how we can be together in order to have this method.
I don't know. Maybe learn from the South Americans. At least the South Americans have one language. Well, there's Spanish there and Portuguese, but
No, we can use English because almost the whole world speaks English or French. So these are the two languages that are known there. So if it matters, I will ask all the friends from all the groups in the world, in the African world, to participate with us.
yes, maybe they have relatives, close people, friends, and this way we will be able to develop it. I'm willing. Absolutely. It's hundreds of millions of people that are suffering, and therefore they specifically can be consumers of integral education. Maybe not Kabbalah, but integral education at least. Yes? Please start. Well, yes. So, yeah.
We're talking about how to deliver the wisdom. We're talking about a root and a branch. This is how we do it. And basically, in your shows with Oren, this is what you did, I think. From the shows I've seen, you took it from the root and you made this show one by one from
Yes, yes.
above downward.
From below up.
My feeling is, my personal feeling is that we're missing out big time here because we're not realizing, not implementing that thing. We have to pass it onward, and we can't realize it on ourselves. I can do it on myself, on my family, in my family relationship, in everything. There is something here which we're missing out big time. If we want to pass it onward, I feel that we have to implement it on ourselves to set an example. And we have a whole methodology that we have to learn ourselves, we have to feel ourselves to be able to pass it onward.
Also, I have not implemented in practicality, not with my family or with my relatives or the distant people in the world or anything. Rather, our work is work in implementing it through the center of the group. It's not worthwhile to disperse to all of these 250 discussions and to start learning them well and implementing them in our lives. No. I'm giving a general observation there about correction in the world in all kinds of manners. But our correction is only in the center of the group. From there, we draw the reforming light, and it corrects us, and that's it, truly. And from there, I bring this Torah, and not from my experience with all the audiences and all that there is. I am saying it only from my contact with spirituality that I have.
I understand that, but I'm asking with respect to the population that we have to be in contact with. We learn from examples.
You will know how to bring that out to them, also to the degree that you will know how to correct yourself. Only that whoever is really caring for the externals needs to know. Again, I have stumbled upon a state in which I had no choice. Maybe this week or next week, I am starting a series which is called Integral Education in the studio. And they're gonna in our filmings in our studio. I'm going to be filming, and I'm going to start giving, let's say, a few times a week, 2 hours, let's say, or whatever, a series of discussions, lessons. I don't know how to call it. And I'm asking also accordingly for responses, questions, directions, corrections, and this way we will build. Also, I heard that there are such lessons that are being given, but I don't want to see them so that I will have something of mine, not to copy or to learn or to correct, or on the contrary. That's it. That's how we're going to do it. Guys, we're not learning. Do you want to ask about this? Yes, please. Only according to the text.
In the text it says, and this is because the final act is in preliminary thought. Can we be there?
No, this is towards the Creator is spoken. But at the end of the action, which is our work, which, as it comes to its end, the final correction is already in the initial thought, in his initial thought.
And we don't have to sit when we reach a certain point to see the end in order to be there, to go there?
Also, you from below up, because as you're looking like a wise person who sees the upcoming born, the same thing. I need to see my final action, my final thought, action, and my initial thought, and this intention is what
So who watches him
connects you
from?
with the end of the work.
So who watches him from one end of the world to its end? Also the Creator?
From the end of the world to its end, observes only whoever is above the will to receive. Well, the Creator, we can't even talk about that because everything is His. And we, to the degree that we can be above our will to receive, then we observe from this edge to that edge. It depends to what degree of will to receive you are above.
You have to be in a spiritual attainment.
Well, in attainment, it depends on what degrees. In attainment, you have 125 degrees.
But you also see from one end of the world to another.
But the whole world for you is altogether just the first degree.
But he also sees it, so what does it mean?
That you feel yourself as existing. In existence. In what form? Let's say, like one cell, let's say. Not alive and not dead. That's a certain sensation of livelihood. Root and branches in the worlds.
Now it is easy to understand the matter of roots and branches in the worlds. Each of the manifold, still, vegetative, animate, and speaking in this world have their corresponding parts in the world above it, without any difference in their form, but only in their substance. Thus, an animal or a rock in this world is a corporeal matter, and its corresponding animal or rock in the higher world is a spiritual matter, occupying no place or time. However, their quality is the same. And here we should certainly add the matter of relation between matter and form, which is naturally conditioned on the quality of the form too. Similarly, with the majority of the still vegetative, animate and speaking in the upper world, you will find their similitude and likeness in the world above the upper. This continues through the first world, where all the elements are completed, as it is written, and God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. This is why the Kabbalists wrote that the world is at the center of everything, to indicate the above, that the end of the act is the first world, meaning the goal. Also, the remoteness from the goal is called the descent of the worlds from their emanator, down to this corporal world, the furthest from the purpose. However, the end of all the corporeals is to gradually develop and achieve the goal that the Creator had designed for them, meaning the first world, compared to this world which we are in. It is the last world, meaning of the end of the matter. This is why it seems that the world of the goal is the last world, and that we, people of this world, are in between them.
It's clear, yes, that if we're talking from the world of Ein Sof, where everything started, then we are below here in the middle. Compared to the goal that he is in return to Ein Sof. Or if we're below compared to Ein Sof, and this is the first point and we're the last point, or in the middle, or from above down. Depends where. It all depends compared to what we're counting, either towards the goal of creation or towards the creatures, as the creatures weren't from above down, but only developed from below upwards. And that's it. That's how it is.
I have a bad
Yes?
feeling now.
Should I bring you a glass of water?
No, it's not a glass of water. I have a bad feeling because basically I don't know who am I.
Is someone lying to you? Is someone cheating you or cause you harm?
What I study now brought me to a point where I don't know who am I. I know he created the evil inclination, which is the ego.
A person is not satisfied from the fact that he's lost his foundation, who I am. Earlier, I used to stand on 4 feet, everything was fine, yes, like that. And now I don't know. Now I'm kind of like floating in the air, kind of like with my feet. Who am I? What am I? Like in some kind of cartoon. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing. Because at last you're starting to really ask, then what basis, what foundations do I have for my life? Well, it's a good thing.
It's a good if you get an answer, but when you don't get an answer,
But at least you know that the previous state was a lie, was falsehood. And now you have hope to move to the truth.
but what can I hold on to in order to believe in that, to have faith?
There's nothing to grab onto here. There's nothing to grasp. Here, actually, I think that, and it's not even worthwhile to try to hold on to something. You need to enjoy the fact that you're hung in the air. This is a true point, that I don't have anything, anything. And because all these things that I want to hold on to myself, to tie myself here, bind myself there, and here and there in some place, something certain, something secure, something nice under someone's help to place myself in a certain way. It's all lies, and I don't want to be in that. I'd rather be floating in the air. That's it. And then slowly, slowly, from this air, I start to feel that it can be in all my reality. There can be a totally different foundation. A totally different foundation. Not that I need to hold on to something like that from the outside of me and to be tied to some opinion, philosophy, opinion. No, I need to search for something that is completely not in this world, not dependent on anything. Let's search for the quality of bestowal. What can it be? In what dimensions do I exist then? You can truly move to it. Yes.
From what we just heard, how can we say that God feared?
In connection to
No,
what
and
is it
God
written?
saw everything he did. Vayara, and God saw.
And behold, it is good.
Yeah, who attains that?
A person.
But how can he know that? It is from the perspective of the Creator.
When a person reaches the degree of godliness, then he says about the discernment of godliness in him, and here, behold, it's good. Well, is it clear?
Now, about the root and the branch, we know that in order to advance, you constantly have to equalize your form with the upper one. Now, we are in a special generation where, in order to disseminate Kabbalah, we have to adapt ourselves to the deficiency of the lower ones.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask, how does it get along that till now we had to equalize the form, every student had to equalize the form with his Rav, and in order to disseminate it to the outside, we have to adapt ourselves to the deficiency of the public.
This I need to explain. Do you see how many times we need to repeat the things that this is us? Rav writes us. Within the center of the group, we discover the Creator, and we, towards the Creator, are in connection between us. And this is the connection to the Ali Elyon, to the upper. We are the upper. And other than that, outside of us, there is something which is the external public or audience, and which is the external or the lower one, the people, humanity. Well, so we, towards ourselves, need to be in efforts together, and towards the external ones, we need to go out to them. We depicted it in such a form that this is the lower one, towards them we go, and to the Creator we are attracted. And this is us, Bnei Baruch, Bibi. Yes?
this circle where we are, the middle, the Bnei Baruch, eventually, are we supposed to come to a transform of form that is supposed to... Well, my question is, the outer public, isn't it supposed to equalize form with us?
No. We go out to it.
Meaning the more vessels will be revealed, we will change our form accordingly?
We need to change our form towards them. We need to divide ourselves into two parts. This is called Zat, and this is our Gar. And we ourselves are Bina. Bina. So towards the Zat, we need to receive a form of it, and towards the Gar, we need to receive the form of it. Towards the Zat, we operate like this with them, with the lower ones, and towards the Gar, we operate in a different form, like this. Two parts. Aren't there any new ones? Okay, you from the groups.
Nada from Tivon is asking, how floating in the air where you don't want to hold on to anything can connect to the group?
That's why he can connect to the group. He's willing to receive anything that is closer to the Creator. Therefore, he floats in the air. This is the degree of Binah, standing and floating in the air. Well?
Rav, this topic of branch and root is very much confusing. A week ago you explained that this world is not what I see on the outside, rather these are my impressions in my present kelim. And now he says that only in their matter, because the animal or the rock in this world is corporal, and the corresponding animal or rock in the spiritual world are spiritual matter. So what is a corporal matter or a spiritual matter?
The will to receive itself, for itself, is called corporeal. The will to, and towards others, is called spiritual.
And
it's
the animal and the rock,
the will to receive.
There is nothing to do with the five senses that we have in what we see here.
See? You have eyes and you don't see. What do you see? You see with your will to receive.
But this is a corporal matter.
Because your will to receive is corporeal, and so what you see in it, that's what appears to you as corporeal.
And what is that rock and animal that I see in my corporeal will to receive?
Forms of your will to receive.
And they also exist in the upper world?
Not in such a form, but in the form of bestowal, as spiritual matter.
But it means that corresponding everything that I now see outside of me as an impression in my kli, it has the corresponding part in the spiritual world.
What is the upper world? Where's the upper world? Where did you hear that there is? Were you there?
No.
If you're not there, then it doesn't exist.
So I have no concern with that.
Of course you have no matter with it.
But on the other hand, we have to yearn to come to this.
Along, but to where? Above this pipe up here.
But the perception of reality is very much confusing. Because you see things which are outside of you, and you're told that corresponding everything, there's a spiritual root to it.
Now you're studying. Don't argue about that. Just agree that you're a beast and you have things to change.
I agree with that, but how should I relate to it?
Relate to it as it being in the truth and you're in falsehood. Well,
okay.
And then be happy from being hanging in the air, floating in the air like your friend. Okay, we're going to continue. We still have some time.
The essence of the wisdom of truth. Now it is clear that as the emergence of the living species in this world and the conduct of their lives are a wondrous wisdom. The appearance of the divine abundance in the world, the degrees and the conduct of their actions unite to create a wondrous wisdom. far more than the science of physics. This is so because physics is mere knowledge of the arrangements of the particular kind existing in a particular world. It is unique to its subject, and no other wisdom is included in it. This is not so with the wisdom of truth, since it is knowledge of the whole of the still, vegetative, animate, and speaking in all the worlds, with all their instances and conducts, as they were included in the Creator's thought, that is, in the purpose. For this reason, all the teachings in the world, from the least of them on to the greatest of them, are wondrously included in it, as it equalizes all the different teachings, the most different and most remote from one another, as the East from the West. It makes them all equal, meaning the orders of each teaching are compelled to come by its ways. For example, the science of physics is arranged precisely by the order of the worlds and the Sphirot. Similarly, the science of astronomy is arranged by the same order, and so is the science of music, etc. Thus, we find in that all the teachings are arranged and follow a single connection and a single relation, and they are all like the relation of the child to its progenitor. Hence, they condition one another. That is, the wisdom of truth is conditioned by all the teachings, and all the teachings are conditioned by it. This is why we do not find a single genuine Kabbalist without comprehensive knowledge in all the teachings of the world, since they acquire them from the wisdom of truth itself, as they are included in it.
This is what we spoke about earlier, that you don't need to go to all kinds of individualistic forms of all the wisdoms, and I'm not in them either, but from the knowledge of the wisdom of truth somewhat, then you know more or less the orders and what people discovered in their matters. You know it from the Spirit. Questions about this, please? People already don't want to ask. They're getting tired. Well, yes? You're asking about this. If not, not. First of all, about this. So what did he tell us? He told us like this, that the wisdom of Kabbalah, the wisdom of truth it's called, it's also called the Torah of truth. It gives us informative knowledge that are organized in a closed manner from the beginning to the end, from the end of the world to its end, and includes all of reality, not our world, but all of reality, which exists in general. So the wisdom of Kabbalah reveals the laws, the processes, the general program, all that exists in that reality, including the matter and form and process that goes on there. This is the wisdom of Kabbalah. And therefore, even according to our state in our little small imaginary world, as we discover all kinds of connections and processes between our little nasty states, but of course we're discovering it as a part of that immense wisdom, even though it's temporary, limited in time and place, in movement, in all kinds of limitations that we have in the wisdoms, in physics, chemistry, biology, zoology, no matter what. In short, the scientific, natural sciences, where we grasp according to its limitations, time or speeds or all kinds of specific conditions. The wisdom of Kabbalah teaches it to us in a general and most broad manner, and therefore it includes within it all the wisdoms, and whoever studies the wisdom of Kabbalah supposedly knows what needs to be in all the rest of the wisdoms. From within, he knows it. He may not be able to talk about it in words that are invented by all the wise guys in our world, because they don't have the same vocabulary that they're making up, but the essence of the things from within he knows and recognizes really well. Yes.
So, when we give knowledge of those different wisdoms in the integral education,
Only in order to bring the people closer to us, so that they will know that we're not talking nonsense and to the point, and that we're about to solve really well things. But so we're giving them external examples. We're not giving them from some kind of philosophies, the perception of reality is how we see, or like that. For a simple person, that's not important. From this, I'll have more money, health, peace at home, peace, good, I'm buying it.
so when we're making the content towards our goal and we want to give them knowledge from what is specified here and the other wisdoms he elaborates about, how much do we want to delve into it? Because if we get to the level of Bala Salam, you need degrees over degrees in the university, and we can't put it into our training. So up to which level can we get into?
It depends on what course. In the end, all of humanity will have to, all kinds of people that were out of work, and instead of walking around the streets and causing riots and all kinds of things for payment that they'll all receive, and things that you can do to hold them in life, otherwise they can have a true war between brothers. Therefore, we're going to have to give them a certain amount to keep them, to sustain them, and also to make sure that they're there for at least 8 hours where they're going to be busy. What are they going to be busy with? Only in this. You don't have anything else. So you'll have to teach them and do all kinds of things with them that to truly engage people. And this is how it was created, so that the moment our ego discovers its end state, like now, like that we cannot advance by it, so we diminish it only to the level that we need for our corporeal sustenance, the normal sustenance, and all the rest of the forces we need for correction. And there in the correction, in the dozens and hundreds of hours and thousands of hours for each person, yeah, you can understand that it'll be because of activities and but work with connection, work in the public, and this is how it really, just like you're going to the university to study. But then you'll need a lot of matter. So we need to prepare all the foundations for this material at least. And then more people will come, and more people are going to have to come and add all kinds of materials around. Clips, activities, songs, games of different kinds. Of course, workshops, discussions, and so on.
And can we relate to the wisdoms he mentions here as an advice of Kabbalists? Which wisdoms with the broad Kabbalah we should engage with?
No, we're not dealing with such wisdoms. We're giving them general education. And this is, nevertheless, examples and things like that, sure, just like I do it in the lesson. But actually, a Kabbalist receives from within these sensations. Okay, so we'll finish. One announcement before we finish. This is our home. Friends are coming from all places to help. Let's watch a short clip on the topic. 37 days till the finish of a project. There's a special level building. It's just built by friends who build it with great love, which will wrap the whole world with love. As the most awake person that I know in the morning lessons, how is it to not be in the morning lesson and instead of that to work in the building? I don't feel like I'm not in the morning lesson. I totally feel like I'm in the morning lesson, completely connected, working, uniting from within, and really making these connections, this inner prayer. It's really felt here.
ואם הים מקיף אותך סביב ולא נשאר אוויר במפרשים ואם הלב שבור לרסיסים כן דווקא אז פתאום רואים ואם ההר עוטף אותך בצל אתה לבד טועה בערפל תיתן לי יד ביחד נתגבר אור אחד ניצוץ בערפל ואהבת לרעך כמוך כלל הכי חשוב בתורה ואהבת לרעך כמוך גם בטוב וגם ברע ועם הזמן הולך ומתקלם והימים חולפים בלי מענה המנהרה נראית ללא קצה דווקא אז הוא מתגלה
ועם החול כיסה את הפנים במרום קבוע כוכבים
אם העולם שבור לרסיסים יש אור אחד